Hey guys, so this is going to be my thoughts on Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and this is going to be very spoiler heavy, so if you are, haven't seen it yet, then click off this video. Just say, go see it, man. Alright, so, Rogue One is a Star Wars story, is about how the rebels discover and steal the plans to the Death Star. So anyway, so the plot goes around to a lot of characters, but our main character is Jyn Erso, daughter of Galen Erso, who is one of the leading scientists working on the Death Star project. With these characters, there's a lot of backstory behind them, and it's very well fleshed out in the book Catalyst, which I recommend to anyone who is confused by the movie. But yeah, so. Anyway, so after she's freed, they tell her she wants to go to Jeddah to get the message that her father sent. The planet Jeddah was the supposed origin place of the Jedi Order. So once she is sent over there with a group of rebels named Cassian Andor, who is the pilot of the ship Rogue One, and a droid who was Imperial protocol, but who was reprogrammed to be a rebel. But he's also can't mask what he thinks. He says whatever comes to his mind. And he was probably the funniest character in the movie. There's a very funny scene on Jeddah. But anyway, so they need to get the message, and they need to save an Imperial shuttle pilot from capture. The guy who was capturing him is Saw Gerrera from the Clone Wars, and he's played here brilliantly by Forest Whitaker, not as the character from the Clone Wars, because I don't remember that, because that episode was a long time ago, and I haven't rewatched that one, which I don't even remember it airing over here. So, anyway, so once they get there, Saw Gerrera's group of rebels, and I say that quote, anarchists, they're very reminiscent of the Jihad or ISIS. Like some of them wear rags, cover up their faces, but that's more of a religious thing, I think. I don't know. What do I know? But anyway, so they cover up his face, and he is kind of creepy with how he's saying lies and is going off on tangents. Very creepy. And once Jyn Erso comes in, once she meets Saw Gerrera, which in the opening act of the film she did get saved by Saw Gerrera. So he had a very interesting performance. It was crazy, but it was very good. And Forest Whitaker was a very good part to play this character. Too bad it's very brief. So I'm gonna get to the spoiler part. So anyways, so his group of anarchists, and I don't know if they're related, but there is the Protectors of the Wills. I think that was their name. Two characters. I cannot pronounce their names. Donnie Yen's character and Baze Malbus. They're Force sensitives who don't use lightsabers, but they could be Jedi if they were trained to. And they're very highly trained in fighting. I don't know if they were related, but they were the last ones. So they help out the rebels on Jeddah. And then the Death Star is tested out for the first time, and boy, is it they really pull it off. The special effects, it really feels like the entire planet is getting destroyed. Reminiscent of 2012, that awful movie by Roland Emmerich, I think it was. But They get off. They get off the planet just before it explodes. But Forest Whitaker is left behind. Baze Malbus and Chirrut, yeah, that's how you pronounce it, escape with the rebels and the guy. And I'm actually sad to see some of the other rebels on the planet didn't survive, because there were a lot of cool designs. I think the costuming for Saw Gerrera's for freedom fighters, I think their costumes are amazing. They had a lot of cool costumes, and especially Two Tubes. He had a very interesting design. And I like one of the rebels wearing a Scout Trooper helmet. But there was a lot of interesting they pulled out a lot of interesting designs here. Very reminiscent of I don't know why. Just one of them I thought back to the Skiff Guards in Jabba's palace, but I don't know. But anyway, so there's also references to Sabak and a Twi'lek dancer, which is the first time we've seen a Twi'lek since I don't remember on screen. But yeah, it was nice to see that. So there's a lot of more classic species reappearing, along with new ones. I think one of the big furry creatures I saw, that one of the mercenaries appeared. I don't remember his name, but the one that's coming out with the Y-wing. I don't know if he was. But anyway, so there's a lot of cool character designs going there. It's kind of sad to see him go when the Death Star blew it up. But they escape. They go to the planet. I forget. I think it was Ito or something like that. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Where they find her father, and they try their Y-wing gets shot down, and a squadron of X-wings is sent over there to help them out. And it was pretty cool. But to see them back in action, we saw them in action last year, so it was a pretty cool scene nonetheless. So after that they gather up their forces, and they gather up, and Jyn Erso's father dies in a horrible accident, and by a Y-wing bomber, and apparently Captain Andor was supposed to kill him, but he didn't. And so once they return to the Yavin base, we see all these cool Easter eggs. I'm pretty sure Chopper was in one scene, but I can't confirm it. And Hera Syndulla is mentioned, the character from Rebels. She was mentioned over the intercom, and I was the only one who caught that. I swear to God, she's alive. And the ghost was in the movie too, so she's alive, at least up to this point. But anyway, so they they debate over it, and so they take a couple of soldiers, even because the Rebel Council doesn't want them to take over. They don't want them to do this mission because it's too dangerous. So they basically say, screw the council, we're going on our own, which is something the Jedi should have done much earlier. So they escape, and they go to Scarif, which is where they're holding the Death Star plans. And so once they get to Scarif, they have this huge shootout, and there's a lot of cool stuff. And the Rebel fleet soon follows, led by Admiral Raddus, who was a very interesting character. Is a very interesting character. He looks a lot like Akbar, and I think he was supposed to be Akbar, but A, the actor passed away, and B, he goes MIA in this movie, so he's not dead specifically. But they could bring him back if they wanted to, but I don't see it likely happening in the future of Star Wars media. So anyway, so once they so the Rebel fleet arrives, and there's a lot of cool Easter eggs here. Now, I'm sorry if I'm gonna make a little jump cut, but my camera's about to die, so I better just go off now. So sorry about that little cut there. So anyway, so Admiral Raddus, they could bring him back if they want. I don't see it happening, even though I like it. I like his design. It looks different from the Mon Calans, but it's enough that they're like the same species. So anyway, so yeah, so he leads. He has an awesome ship. Like, it's super hard to like top the Home One from Return of the Jedi. That was one of the greatest ship designs, I think, in Star Wars. But they topped it. I don't know if it has the hangar space of it, but it does fit a Tantive cruiser in there, so I think that's pretty good. But anyway, so also for you Rebels fans out there, there is one of the hammerheads is in the film, which is awesome. And some other things I noticed in space is that there are a lot of cool ship. There's like a lot of cool Easter eggs, like General Merrick, who like Star Wars Minute explained that he's basically Blonde Biggs, which I like how he builds that connection. He also does have a figure, which is in a very inaccurate set. So with the Space Monkey, I don't know why they put like a lot of attention to that in the featurette. So they go to a very special there's a lot of fighting, and there's like some stock footage too. Red Leader and Gold Leader are still there, they use stock footage from A New Hope, but I like that they did that. There was like a lot of like, you know, it shows that it happens in Red 5. Red 5 dies just in time for his spot to be picked up by Luke in A New Hope, which I like that little thing. So anyway, so a lot of pilots die by TIE fighters, and a lot of TIE fighters get destroyed too. I haven't kept count, but more X-Wings got destroyed. It really makes the Empire seem like a threat. So, now before I get into spoilers, I want the true spoilers of the fate of the crew. I want to get into Darth Vader. Now I saved a special section for this. So, when Darth Vader first appeared, I know I'm assuming out of order because I didn't write any of this down. So when Darth Vader first appears, there's an intense build-up, but I knew it was going to be Vader when it happened because they used Vader's castle. Now, for those who don't know, Vader's castle was originally designed it was originally designed to be in the movie. It was Empire Strikes Back, which is where he was originally going to have the bounty hunter meeting. And makes Vader seem like, you know, this much more of a weird, mysterious threat. He has his own castle. He's got his own servants. He's got his own medical chamber. You know, Vader, you know, I think he was probably sleeping in that Bacta tank. Which, yeah, he was in the Bacta tank in the movie, and in the trailer, he was the one in the Bacta tank, which probably explains why he was kind of weird in A New Hope. So anyway, so it was but the brief moment we see him was pretty cool. So, and Vader comes out of the tank. He's still voiced by James Earl Jones, which is awesome to see. He pulls a little joke, like he jokes a little bit, and you know, it was pretty corny, but it was still pretty funny too. He was very intimidating, Vader, when he first appeared. He still you know, one of the things that George Lucas said for writing Vader is to make him relentless. And he does have that kind of feeling, you know. He is very intimidating in this film. So, this is the first time we've heard James Earl Jones voice Vader in recent history. He did voice Vader in in Rebels, which was very cool to see. It's very cool to hear him back on the big screen, though. It was very awesome, I gotta admit. It felt like I was back in the 80s watching it. And I love how they kept this castle. I love how it's still on Mustafar, too, which is great. Which I like that it's on Mustafar, because it gives kind of a sense of creepiness, you know, because he was burnt on Mustafar, but he still lives there. It shows that he's got balls. So, yeah, Dash Star. Just so you wanted to know that. So, you guys probably have no idea what's going on. But anyway, so I'm saving this for the original trilogy characters that appear, and C-3PO and R2 appear for a brief moment. Like, I feel like they should have done what Star Wars Minutes said and have them on board the Tantive briefly. But you know, it was still pretty cool to see them back. Though it was, I feel like they're gonna appear in every movie. Like C-3PO is gonna become the Stan Lee of the Star Wars movies. I feel like that's gonna happen. Anyway, so like there's like a lot of cool action going on in space, and Tarkin's back, which I was surprised that they actually pulled the Tarkin on us. You know. Like I think they got the voice actor back, but like I'm surprised they did it with CG. You know, it looks cool. And it looks weird at the same time, you know? But at first, I didn't like it. But then I realized, you know, this is a test. This is the first time stuff is being done like this. Like in Civil War. And, you know, it's either... Because, you know, it's either going to become cool... Or it's either going to become bad and they're going to stop using it. So, you know, it was very cool to see him like that. So there's stopping to be an age range now, and it was pretty cool. He was pretty intimidating too. He just kind of looked ghostly, but that was probably the CGI. And my dad noticed that it was Tarkin. He just didn't know how they did it. Like, it was pretty creepy because it was. And I guess you know, some could consider it disrespectful to Peter Cushing, one of the greatest horror actors of all time. But you know. Still, though, it was pretty respectful how they did it, so, you know, no complaints there. So, Anyway, so back onto the main battle of Scarif. Now, this is going to get very, very spoilery. It's just going to be like... so once on the Battle of Scarif, they get into the communications tower. K2SO locks them in from stormtroopers, and he sacrifices himself, which was sad, really. And I heard some kids say, no, that's sad. But he dies, and it wasn't really, I felt like they could have taken more time to absorb it. But, they escape, they get to the top of the tower so they can transmit it to Admiral Ridis' flagship. It doesn't have a name yet, at least not one that I could find. So, as they were transmitting it, they need to get the plans hooked up to one of the shuttles, and I felt like the shuttle pilot, I can't remember his name. I feel like his death was he dies in the film too. He died very abruptly, but and also Jarrett, his death was very well handled. I felt. Even though he was blind, I felt it was very well handled. Blaise Malbus, I felt it was forced, but he kind of needed to die. Everyone kind of needed to die in this film. Everyone who needed to die died with respect. And also, a lot of rebels died. All their POW, all the stuff we got hyped about, all the creatures we saw, the creaturettes, died. Even Gareth Edwards' Space Monkey, which he was so excited about, died, which kind of sucks for Gareth Edwards. Anyway, so as they go on on their plans to, they finally get it transmitted, and the Death Star comes in, perfect timing. The Death Star comes in, and they start blowing up everything. Like, literally, like, it blows up the entire planet. Just as the planets get out, they die. Everyone dies. And I felt Jyn and Andor's death were perfectly handled in the film. It was great. They didn't overstay their welcome as characters, and they didn't get a lot of development either, which I was kind of pissed, but hey, it was kind of cool to see him, it was a very well handled death, and very beautifully shot, too. And so it gets up to the ship, and the ship is being boarded by Darth Vader and his 501st Legion of Stormtroopers, Vader's Fist. And as they're going down, I thought it was legit going to be in A New Hope, but it wasn't. So I was actually kind of happy that it wasn't. One guy, the door is barely closing. He's just, take the plans, open the door. And one guy takes it, and he's kind of screwed over that guy. And once Vader turns on his lightsaber, it's full on goddamn beast mode. He destroys everybody around him. Everyone around him, he is a force. He's relentless. Too bad he just doesn't do it for long. But he was kind of the best part. So the Tantive escapes, goes into hyperspace. They're going to Tatooine to pick up Obi-Wan, and and they give the plans to Princess Leia, and it says, "What is it, Your Highness?" It says, "Hope." Then the movie ends. It was pretty good. I'd say it was pretty awesome. I finished the previous book, Star Wars Catalyst, just before the movie, and when I saw the movie, they tie in perfectly. But I just hope the book isn't giving me a little bit of explains a lot, because it's a movie. But for fans, it's really rewarding. It feels like a hug to the Star Wars fans. It feels like we're rewarding you for all your knowledge. You've known everything. You learned a lot about the characters. Here's this pretty awesome movie, and it was pretty awesome that. It had its flaws. It definitely, there's some memorabilia areas used. I will admit, South Park reference. But it was a pretty good movie. It was pretty awesome. Just a lot of the characters die, So it was pretty cool to see, to be honest. And I recommend it for any Star Wars fan. It's pretty cool to see, just as long as you're not salty about the old universe getting decanonized. So it was pretty awesome. It was a pretty good movie, and There's a lot of cool references. And for those casual fans, you'll like it too. It's a pretty cool movie. It's not related to Episode 7. So, you know, there's a little bit of confusion about that. But it was an awesome movie, and I recommend it for any Star Wars fan. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, share, and subscribe, and peace out.